Hello Leafs Nation, I'm Rick Scarborough and you're watching Blue and White Weekly, where we bring you weekly updates on the Leafs and the hockey world at large. If you're sitting there asking yourselves, their setup is changing each and every episode, you're right, it is, but that's not what's important. What's important is we have a brand new week of Maple Leafs playoff hockey to talk about, so let's get into the news. Before we get into the games of the week, let's take a look at some news from around the hockey world. The Utah Hockey Club no longer exists. Not under that name, at least. After a season of speculation and fan voting, it was announced on Wednesday that they will be taking the ice next year as the Utah Mammoth. I don't know if that's actually the plural of that now, but I will ignore bad grammar because of how sick that logo looks. The IIHF Men's World Championships get underway this week, and Team Canada has come to dominate. It was announced late last week that joining an already stacked roster would be the likes of Marc-Andre Fleury, Nate McKinnon, and Sidney Crosby. Upon hearing this, every European fourth liner requested a fresh change of underpants. Before we update you on the NHL playoffs, let's take a look at what's going on in the Walter Cup playoffs in the PWHL. The number 1 seed Montreal Victoire locked at 1 with the Ottawa Charge in their best-of-5 series, with Game 2 going to quadruple overtime and becoming the longest game in PWHL history. In the other series, the Minnesota Frost hold a 2-1 lead over the Toronto Scepters. And before we pivot to the Leafs and Panthers, a quick tour around the NHL as of Sunday morning. The Oilers were looking dominant against the Golden Knights before Stuart Skinner started existing again. Carolina is leading Washington 2-1, and I can't find the energy to care. I'll be honest, that series is really boring me. And the Jets and Stars are experiencing the Mikko Rantanen Revenge Tour, as Dallas is up 2-1. And now let's get into the games we're here to talk about. The second round kicked off on Monday night in Toronto for the Leafs and Panthers, and everyone is saying the same thing when it comes to this series. Yeah, the Leafs look different, but the Panthers are going to kill them. Nylander scores 33 seconds into Game 1. Not only did Willie get Scotiabank Arena rocking early with that quick goal, but he double-dipped. It must be the power of that brown suit he's been wearing for 4 games in a row, because it's 2-0. Seth Jones would get Florida on the board, but Morgan Riley would close out period 1 of Game 1, and the Leafs were up 3-1. The second period saw the intensity ramp up both in physicality and on the scoreboard when Chris Tanev collects his first of the postseason to extend the Leafs' lead. And it's here at the midpoint of the game that, well, things took a turn for the worse. For more on that, we're going to go now to our senior analyst, Byron Doyle. Howdy there, folks. Byron Doyle here for Blue and White Weekly, making my first appearance of these here playoffs, and, well, wish it was under better circumstances. Anthony Stolarz, the starting goaltender for our Toronto Maple Leafs, is, he's seen better days. He caught a nasty elbow in the head from an old foe of ours, that greasy rat, Sam Bennett. And I know when I say greasy rat, that doesn't exactly narrow it down, because the Florida Panthers have a lot of those. But, Sam Bennett is getting through the crease, and he catches Stolarz up high with a sneaky little elbow. He tried to play it off, but I saw, old Byron saw it, and the ref saw it too, but the ref did nothing about it. The refs never do anything about it when it comes to Sam Bennett. Think back now, 2 years ago, also in the second round, also against the Florida Panthers, and it was Sam Bennett, Matthew Nyes, a rookie Matthew Nyes, if you will, just a young buck back then. He took Nyes down, gave him a little Undertaker pile driver behind the net, and, well, he concussed the kid. He messed him up pretty good, and that's dangerous for any player, but especially one so young as that, because his brain's not fully developed. But nothing happened from the league on that account. Then last season, the Florida Panthers taking on the Boston Bruins, and that's a series that's every Leafs fan's worst nightmare, because it's 2 teams that we probably hate the most. And Bennett took out his fellow rat, Brad Marchand, with a dirty hit, and he concussed Marchand as well. And now they're buddies down there in Florida. And, well, our goalie there, Anthony Stolarz, he had to leave the game. He was up chucking on the bench there, and you never like to see that. But make matters worse, apparently they stretchered him out of the arena. Apparently they put him on a stretcher and got him down to hospital there. And he's doing all right. He's back home. He was hanging with the team before Game 2. He was feeling himself, but the league, they got nothing to say about it. The refs got nothing to say about it. Player safety has nothing to say about it, and they're the ones I want to talk to here. I'm looking at you, George Peros, you and your buddy your buddy Jerry Bettman and your third amigo there, Colin Campbell. A lot of you should be ashamed of yourselves. You're here, the Department of Player Safety. You're here to, well, do just that. Keep the players safe. And if the goalies aren't even being kept safe, if we're not looking after our goalies, what guarantees do the rest of the guys on the ice have? The goalies are supposed to be the last line of defense, the stalwarts, the ones that everyone looks out for. And if you're not looking out for them, well, the players are just going to have to. And I don't want to get on the Leafs for not taking any response to Bennett because it just wouldn't have gone in their favor. The refs are always going to take the guy who retaliates. And we ended up winning game one, and it went all well and good, but I got to say there, I'm disappointed with player safety. And, well, I wouldn't be too upset if someone took an elbow to the head of Sam Bennett later on in this series. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's all your best buddy Byron's got to say for now. Ricky, I'll send it back to you there, pal. Go, Leafs, go. Look, he's out of line, but he's right. So, Joseph Woll takes the net with no warm-up, and with a cold goalie and a rattled squad, the Leafs give up 2 quick goals, and the Panthers pull within 1. Matthew Knies would score on the breakaway. Not long after, Matthew Knies would score on the breakaway to add some insurance, and it would be well-needed insurance, as, well, who else but Sam Bennett, go figure, would score for the Panthers with 2 minutes left, but the Leafs hang on for the 5-4 win to go up in Game 1. Wednesday's Game 2 wouldn't have as fast of a start, and we'd have to wait until halfway through the first for the scoring to open up, this time courtesy of Sasha Barkov. The Leafs would tie it up soon after on the power play thanks to Max Pacioretty, who has been having himself quite the series so far after being scratched to begin the playoffs. And the first period would close out with the game tied, but the Rat himself, Brad Marchand, had something to say about that, regaining the Panthers' lead just 15 seconds into the second period. William Nylander would tie the game up once more, and then both teams would pause the goal scoring and just focus on trying to kill each other for a while, with 5 penalties being handed out in the second, 4 of them on the same play. Scott Laughton took Evan Rodriguez into the boards from behind, and immediately the ref's hand went in the air, and you know what, that's fair. Laughton definitely caught him from behind, and, sorry, what's that? The penalty was on Rodriguez for embellishment. What? Then the other penalties on the play came from Laughton getting into it with Nate Schmidt and both men getting roughing calls. And, the reffing in this series has been terrible, I'll be honest. Stephen Lorentz and Morgan Riley would help Max Domi give the Leafs the lead on a beautiful play to close out the second, but Anton Lundell opens up the third and ties us again. And then the hero of the game would be the new dad himself, Mitch Marner. On Tuesday, the day before Game 2, Mitch and his wife Stephanie welcomed their son Miles Daniel Marner to the world, and Mitchie wins this one for his boy. Leafs lead the series 2-0. And now we take a flight to Florida for Friday's Game 3, and the Panthers crowd is rocking, but not for long, as number 23 scores 23 seconds in. That's right, Matthew Knies takes the wind out of the sails of the crowd. Leafs are up. Not long after that, Knies' dad, John Tavares, would activate his amulet powers and hit the Panthers with a wrap around in the playoffs, because why not? Go get him, Johnny. Leafs up 2-0. Sasha Barkov answers back with his third of the season to get the Panthers on the board and close out the first, but John Tavares gets his second of the game on the power play. It's 3-1 Leafs. And then things just got bad. The Leafs look a little lost towards the tail end of the second, beginning of the third, and the Panthers collect 3 goals in a row to take the lead and close the second. The Leafs are chasing their tails in the defensive zone. Morgan Riley settles things down for a little bit to tie it up in the third and send us to overtime, where, of course, it was him. It had to be him. Why wouldn't it be him? Brad Marchand. The Rat. Can't escape him. Not even when we don't play Boston. Leafs lose. And that'll take us to Game 4 on Sunday night, with the Leafs holding a 2-1 series lead. Before the game even begins, the anthem singer has me ready to throttle someone. I don't know who this guy is, but I don't think he's ever heard "O Canada" before. And my night got worse from there, as the Leafs take an early penalty, and another, and another, and the Leafs ended up with 4 penalties in the first period, but incredibly, it's only 1-0 Panthers, as we head into the second. The Leafs would get a pair of power play opportunities in the middle frame, but you wouldn't know it as the Panthers continue to run the show. The only reason the score is this close is because Joseph Woll is continuing to stand on his head. The Leafs were starting to show some signs of offense in the third until OEL blows up Evan Rodriguez with what is definitely an interference call. Do not get me wrong, but come on. He didn't need to be down on the ice that long. Maybe I spoke a little too soon talking about Rodriguez embellishment call in Game 2. And my night just continues to grow cruel as none other than Sam Bennett outweights Joseph Woll on an opportunity, and it's now 2-0 Panthers. And Florida would hang on for that 2-0 win, but not before a skirmish in the corner in the dying seconds of the game that had penalties called, gloves flying, and the crowd chanting, USA. Right. Chanting USA for the team captained by a Finnish player. And the guy on your team with his gloves off is Canadian. Make that make sense, Floridians. Looking ahead in the week, this now becomes a best-of-3 series as we head back to Toronto for Game 5 on Wednesday. Then Game 6 will come at us from sunrise on Friday, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see if we require a Game 7. We'll have all those games for you next week, plus so much more. But for now, thank you very much for watching Leafs Nation. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, go, Leafs, go. We'll see you next time.